Stand and say the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first item is the approving the minutes of the regular meeting of November 2, 2021.
Move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of November 2nd, 2021.
Second.
Any changes? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Trustee Postuma.
Aye.
Trustee Stifler.
Aye.
Trustee Fisher.
Aye.
Trustee Burns.
Aye.
Trustee Banky.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, on November 2, this is President's comments. On November 2, 2021, the Village Board passed a resolution requesting the levy of property tax. Tonight, the Village Board is considering the ordinance to levy the taxes that are to be received in calendar year 2022. Under the property tax extension limitation law, the village can increase its levy from the previous year's levy by an amount that is the lower of the Consumer Price Index or 5% plus new construction. The Consumer Price Index is 1.4%. Hinsdale's levy this year will be for 2.3%, which is the 1.4% plus new construction. There's good news in what we're reporting tonight with respect to 161 property owners in the Woodlands, which is referred to as Special Area 13, Special Service Area 13. 10 years ago, we issued bonds to fund a portion of the Woodlands Draining Improvement Project. And in connection with that, we levied property tax on 161 properties to help pay off the bonds. This coming year, 2022, is the last year of the bonds and the last year of the levy. We have an excess fund balance of about $112,000 in the Special Service Area 13 fund. So we plan to reduce the levy from what it had been in the previous 9 years of $190,000 to $78,000 to zero out the account and pay off the bonds, and that's a reduction of $112,000. This reduction of property tax to these 161 properties by a total of $112,000 spread across the 161 properties will, on average, reduce property tax bills in that to those residents by $600. So that's good news. On Saturday, November 27th, we're going to have the Small Business Saturday. Downtown Hinsdale is offering many independently owned business, and we encourage shoppers to shop local, shop Hinsdale. The Hinsdale annual tree lighting ceremony will occur on Friday, December 3 at 5 p.m. and it kicks off the Christmas walk, which will be from 5 to 7:30 in downtown Hinsdale. Decorate Hinsdale's Holiday Trees is a program that you want to participate in, and there's entry forms can be found at villageofhinsdale.org/PR. On the coronavirus update, which is now going on nearly 2 years reporting on this, the Illinois Department of Health is reporting DuPage's 7-day rolling positivity rate of 3.3%, and that's an increase from my last report, which is at 2.4%. As of today, Hinsdale Hospital reports that there is 1 person under investigation for COVID and 7 people in the hospital with COVID. As of November 15th, the DuPage County website is reporting 1,934 cumulative cases in DuPage County portion of Hinsdale. That's up 61 cases since my last report. And as of November 15, the Cook County website reports 238 COVID cases in Hinsdale cumulatively, which is an increase of 2 since my last report. So, citizens petition. You here to talk about anything?
Only to answer questions for the item on the agenda on your report.
Okay, so I'll take that as a no. Okay, that takes us to first reads. Matt.
Yes. I'm going to address items 6A through G together. At the last meeting, we requested a levying of property taxes of over $14 million, and now we need to formally pass the ordinance actually levying these taxes. In addition, there are 6 bond issuances where the village has pledged alternate revenue sources to pay those bonds, and so we then need to formally abate the levying of property tax to make those payments because those other revenue sources will be used to pay those taxes. The net abatement is about $3 million. I would also note that the amount for the library levy is an estimate, but I understand that the library board is adopting a final levy tonight, I believe, so by the time we have our second read, the library number will be final. When we have our next meeting, I will actually formally request the approval of all the resolutions, the ordinance passing the total levy of the 14 million, and then the 6 resolutions abating for the various bond issuances, but we don't have to go through that right now. Any questions? Okay. Move that to second read.
Well, you got through that easy. I thought you were going to read all these things.
That's next time.
Okay. Up to you, Luke?
No, we've got
okay.
two more.
2 more, okay.
Yes. Item 6H, also first read. This is what Tom was talking about earlier. It's to approve a resolution to abate a portion of the property tax used to pay the bonds issued in Special Service Area 13, which is in the Woodlands. These bonds were originally issued in 2012 to fund the resident portion of the Woodlands drainage project due to excessive flooding in the area. The final payments on the bonds are due in 2022, but we have an excess fund balance that will cover most of those debt payments. The regular levy is about $190,000, but staff is recommending that we abate that by about $112,000, so well over half of the tax that would normally be due, leaving a remaining tax total levy of about $78,000. After the debt payments are made next year, there'll be a small reserve of about $3,700 that will be used in case any tax refunds are due at a later date. Any questions on that one? Let's make that a second read. Okay, next one is item 6I, and this is the approval of our blanket purchase orders for 2022. As you may recall, Kathleen has purchasing authority of up to $20,000. The purpose of the blanket purchase orders is to approve items where we expect to be making multiple purchases throughout the year from the same vendor. The list of vendors is the same as last year's purchase orders, or at least the vendors on the list were also on the list last year. That's probably a better way of putting it. The total amount for this year is $597,000 roughly. Last year it was about $810,000, so it's less. One of the reasons is because the salt purchase is no longer included in the blanket purchase orders this year, and then also GovHR and Lauterbach and Amon are not on the list as well. Just some of the larger ones, just to kind of note that, we have Dave Van Norsdel again for his work in the accounting area, $136,000. Last year we had $144,000 for Dave. And then also to point out for Tyler Muniz, we have $108,000 there. There's a module for $26,000 and then ongoing fees of $82,000. Does anybody have any questions about the blanket purchase orders?
So why is the total on the page 684,000?
Yeah, the memo that was on your desks when you came in with the date on it has the 684,537.
Okay. I'm sorry, so what is the right numbers? It's a
684,537.
Okay, got it, okay, all right, got it, okay,
Okay,
sorry. Got it.
684. Any other questions? that a second read.
Okay?
Which moves us to agenda item 6J, and this is a first read to waive the competitive bid process and award a contract to Orbis Solutions for the repair of the railroad security camera system at a cost not to exceed $33,451. In June of this year, the railroad camera system was found to be inoperative, likely as a result of a lightning strike. The camera system is integrated into the server located at the police department, and it monitors all of the railroad grade crossings, the train platforms, and the train stations. Staff is recommending the board waive the competitive bid process and award the contract to Orbis Solutions at the cost of $33,451. Orbis is the village's information technology contractor, and staff believes the professional service nature and the familiarity of Orbis has with the village's existing video management and storage systems justifies waiving the competitive bid process. It should be noted that a bid was solicited from Pentegra Systems. This is the company responsible for installing the camera at the parking, or the camera system at the parking deck. Pentegra Systems came in at a cost of $82,377, or approximately $49,000 higher. At least in the RBA, I was a little bit confused by this, but the village has already received a check from our insurance company in the amount of $33,451, and we will need to submit a check back to the insurance company, IRMA, in the amount of $25,000 to cover the deductible. So from our standpoint, this isn't the way we should always look at stuff, whether it's $33,000 or $44,000, our cost is $25,000. And in my opinion, the professional nature of the IT and their familiarity with the system warrants waiving the competitive bid process.
Is it $25,000 per claim, or is it, okay,
Except for zoning ones, that's up to 50,000.
okay.
And I'm just curious, is that standard process with IRMA, that they issue the full amount and then we reimburse them the? Okay.
And different
Trusting.
municipalities.
Yeah.
So is
Wouldn't
the-
work in the,
Yeah, yeah,
wouldn't work
right.
in the private sector, where
Yeah,
they write
right.
you a check and you wire them one back.
Never find
so is the total amount 33 or is it 58?
No, the total amount that we pay, no, it's 33,
Right.
it's 33. And
33.
we pay 25 and remit the balance back
Right.
to them.
Okay, so you give
Right.
8 back.
18.
Or no,
Yeah,
you give 25 back.
Correct.
right.
They
They'll
give you,
cover the
they give you
overage.
33 now.
Yeah. And from the waiving the competitive bid process, the only other benchmark we have is Pentegra, which did the parking deck, and that was a cost $49,000 higher.
But then the cost isn't really 33.
It's,
25.
yeah, to us, yeah.
Right,
but-
yeah.
Right.
Or net cost, yeah.
Right.
Okay,
You got it. Net cost to us, I should have said.
yeah.
So, other questions? Second read? Okay, good.
Okay, who had the,
I had the,
payable?
I had the accounts payable. I found everything to be in good order. I would note here that the amount of 4.3 million is higher than what we normally see due to all the bond payments that are being made. I will also say, Andrea, I forgot to bring the black box. I just remembered it's at home, so I'll have it dropped off tomorrow morning.
black bag.
Okay.
not
Not the
not
black
black
box.
box is on that.
That's a lawyer term. So with that, I'm going to approve payment of the accounts payable for the period of October 28, 2021 through November 10th, 2021 in the aggregate amount of $4,305,275.01 as set forth on a list provided by the village treasurer, of which a permanent copy is on file with the village clerk.
Second. Roll call vote?
Trustee Postuma?
Aye.
Trustee Stifler?
Aye.
Trustee Fisher?
Aye.
Trustee Burns?
Aye.
Trustee Benke?
Unless somebody wants to pull an item off the consent agenda, can I have a motion with respect to consent agenda items 7B through 7E?
So moved.
Second?
Roll call vote?
Trustee Postuma?
Aye.
Trustee Stifler?
Aye.
Trustee Fisher? Aye. Trustee Burns?
Aye.
Trustee Benke?
Back to you, Luke.
Which takes us to agenda item 8A. So 8A, we went through this last time. It is for the, this is a second read, it's for an exterior appearance and site plan to allow for facade improvements to an existing building at 33 East First Street in the B2 Central Business District for a business to be known as the Frederick, Lynn Haberdashery. For everybody's memory, this is the building located directly to the west of Fuller House, and it was previously known as the Hinsdale Furrier. I would note that this went in front of the Plan Commission and the Historic Preservation Commission. The Historic Preservation Commission did make a number of changes, which we reviewed at the last meeting. The applicant did accept all of those changes. The Plan Commission subsequent, and then the HPC approved it within a unanimous vote with a recommendation to us. As it went to Plan Commission, there was also a unanimous vote for recommendation. And then at the last board meeting, the applicant answered 3 or 4 questions on our part, but it seemed as though everybody was comfortable with it. So with this, I would open up if there's any questions from trustees or President Colley.
The description says that it was, the village board moved to the item forward for a second read, subject to addressing landscaping concerns. I don't recall any landscaping concerns.
No, there's no landscaping around this
Okay,
property.
all right, okay, I thought I misremembered.
Anything else? Hearing none, I'm going to approve an ordinance approving an exterior appearance and site plan for facade improvements to an existing building at 33 East First Street to be known as the Frederick Lynn Haberdashery.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Trustee Postuma?
Aye.
Trustee Stifler?
Aye.
Trustee Fisher? Aye. Trustee Burns?
Aye.
Trustee Banky?
Aye.
Which moves us to agenda item 8D, which is it's a second read to approve an ordinance for a design review permit and sign permit for the installation of a new sign cabinet on the existing existing ground sign base at 920 North York Road for a business to be known as the Durham Institute. Again, this was presented at the last meeting. There were several questions. I would note that everything being requested here is code compliant. We typically do not see signs come in front of this board, but because it is part of the overlay district, it is coming to us. But as far as the sign size, colors, everything is code compliant. There was some discussion at the last meeting with regards to the illumination of the sign, and only the letters are going to be illuminated because the background, for lack of a better term, is going to be painted opaque so that no light shines through that. We do have a representative from the applicant here this evening to answer there any questions, but I'm not sure if they were all answered at the last meeting or not. I would also note that at the Plan Commission meeting, there was some discussion with regard to the color and the illumination, but ultimately it was approved by the Plan Commission unanimously, so long as there was a dimmer light put onto the side of the sign, and the applicant has revised the application so that a dimmer light will be installed so as to meet any illumination requirements or restrictions that we have once installed. Questions or concerns?
Just one concern that has nothing to do with this. I wish, I know we're going to vote this one, just like the last one. I wish we wouldn't have to make all this stuff over, drawings, copying drawings costs money.
I agree.
I wish there was a way we could not do that.
Yeah, particularly if we've agreed to just move it
Yeah,
forward.
I know
second
these are
read.
both rubber stamped.
Yeah, yeah,
We can
I
save
mean,
our
after
copies,
considering it previously.
save our copies from the first read, right?
right.
Yeah, we could do that, yeah.
Right.
Can we do that going forward, Rob? So long as there's a general consensus, we tell the applicant not to come back, which is the case many times.
Certainly.
And we'll just instruct the trustees to save their copy from the weeks
Save a
before.
couple of trees, yeah.
Especially for these big, heavy, 2 by 4 feet
Right.
surveys.
Right, okay,
And I have a big stack of stuff I save anyway, so I know right where to put
It's
it.
there for
yeah,
months.
right.
Agreed. All right, hearing
Good suggestion.
no questions from trustees, I'm going to make a motion to approve an ordinance approving a design review permit and sign permit for the installation of a new sign cabinet on an existing ground sign base at 920 North York Road to be known as the Durham Institute.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Trustee Postuma?
Aye.
Trustee Stifler?
Aye.
Trustee Fisher? Aye. Trustee Burns?
Aye.
Trustee Banky?
Aye.
Yeah, it takes us to the discussion items, tollway update, anything, Brad?
Nothing to report.
Okay, flood event. how are we doing on reimbursement for the residents?
Good. I received information that 36% of the claims have been agreed to and paid out, and they're working through that list.
So 36 have been paid.
36%, yes,
been
total
paid.
61.
So no one's claim has been denied?
No one's claim in that area has been denied.
Okay. Okay. Okay, any time frame for the remaining?
They're working through as fast as they can. They've been very, very responsive.
Okay. And who is it we're dealing with? Are we dealing with Walsh or the
Yes,
tollway?
do it, Walsh.
Okay. The snow shovel program?
Yes, about a year ago, President Colley had asked me to look into whether or not we could offer a snow shovel program. And at the time, we were a little bit focused on another item. And so this year, I had asked Heather to research the feasibility of offering something like that to the community, and she's here to do a presentation.
And just the context, I got a call from a resident who was elderly, who couldn't afford to pay somebody to shovel, and I think she just had a walkway. I don't think it was a driveway, and she wanted some way the village could assist in either pooling resources from a number of people in the same situation to pay for somebody to go around and clean their walkway and driveway, or some other solution. But that's what brought this up.
Yeah, it's a great idea. In your packets, you had just the basic information, but if you go to our website, it's under residents, and you would navigate to snow shovel program. So from there, you would come to this page. And this page has a link to the guide. So if you click here, there's a guide, which you'll see on this page. This is the piece that we'll use to advertise. So we're going to work with the community house, the library, the schools. We'll have a press release for the Hinsdalean. And then this will go into the Parks and Rec program brochure as kind of something people would sign up that way. And the community house actually has a group of seniors they can mail to, so we'll mail things directly to some of the seniors as well. So this is the actual flyer that will go out to everyone, kind of highlights the program information, and just kind of gives them an idea of what it is. It's meant to be a volunteer program. We do leave it up to the seniors once they fill out the application, which they can do in paper or online. And here's this information where they would kind of sign up, give their information about themselves, their address, all their contact information, and then just saying how they qualify, whether they're over 60 or if they have a disability. We would then advertise to, I think a lot of places advertise this to teens, but we know there'd be adults that would be interested in helping too. So anyone that is interested in shoveling can then fill out this form. We have an area for them to put in school if they needed credit hours for something, and then also information on their availability. So if we know someone is looking for morning shoveling, we don't connect them with someone who's an evening shoveler only or something of that case. So it also has information on whether they have their own snow shovel and if they need transportation. So that way we're connecting them again with seniors who have the appropriate information for them. Once that information comes in, we kind of will put it all into a catalog and then give a set of names to those seniors, and the seniors are then responsible for reaching out to those individuals to set up their shoveling times. It is meant to be strictly volunteer. How we did put the caveat in here, if someone is requesting payment, that's handled between the two parties, but it's meant to be a volunteer program.
Right.
So, you have any questions?
How are we attracting volunteers to do the shoveling?
Well, a lot of it, so the community house actually has a junior board who's interested in doing it, and then the high school has volunteer hours for
Okay, so it's being circulated through the schools? Okay.
I think that's what we'll start with. And I know Michelle has mentioned that she has had people that are interested in kind of pass it through the schools that way. They've offered to advertise on their display boards and in the virtual backpacks, things like that. So, yeah.
I think this is fantastic. I will sign up for Fisher Children. If I could just make one suggestion,
Sure.
dealing with a 13-year-old boy, specificity is good.
Yep.
So if possibly somebody who is needing services, if they can specify when they sign up, driveway, sidewalk, porch, walkway, just because I'm thinking if a kid's coming over, if they need to know if it's gonna be 15 minutes or an hour,
Yep.
they might just be able to better gauge it, and then they know exactly what to do.
We have that listed in the instructions, but we can always add
Sorry, I
information onto the, no, we can add it into the form too, so that way we know it's there. Yes, we can add that into the form specifically,
this
so
is a
we know
great
we gather that.
People need hours for confirmation too.
Yeah, no, there's all kinds of things for hours now. And then we just have people that just want to volunteer their time, so.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Nope.
So that doesn't apply to 13.
All right, well, thanks for following up on this, because I think this came up,
It's always the
in the
guys.
middle of the pandemic last December, I think. Yeah, thank you very much.
If you get in other people's cars, you really did.
Okay, then they have outdoor dining, so where do we stand on that?
Yeah, just to provide the board an update and to the community. So the staff is continuing to work on concepts. We'll be meeting later this week with trustees Burns and Fisher. We're leaning more towards a temporary solution, and don't want to get into too many of the details until after we've had our meeting, but rather than permanently changing the infrastructure, we think that there's another opportunity to test something else out, and we're looking to do that for next summer. The ordinance that allows the outdoor dining expires at the end of next month, December 31st. We've been in contact with the restaurants and identifying those that have already stopped outdoor service. And we will be picking up the Jersey barriers and then storing them for next year. Where this is critical is on First Street. There's spaces that we can return to angled parking out by Marcus and in front of Eplogio. So we're going to be delivering letters to the businesses to say that in the upcoming weeks, we're going to pick up the Jersey barriers. Currently, Nabucco and Fuller plan to stay open at least until December 31st. We're still working with them to identify their plans for January through some spot in springtime. But the rest of the residents have indicated that they will be closed and reopen around April or May, and then we'll be looking to address the ordinance. We'll see if we have it on the agenda for the December meeting. It depends. If we have no interest of anyone continuing past December 31st, we'll just work on it and then bring it forward in time for the spring opening.
So in the thinking, I understand, which makes sense to me, is we don't want to do anything permanent now, because we had a really an unusual year last year where we had a successful outdoor dining, but we're not quite sure, once we get back to normal, how much people are going to be attracted to outdoor dining. So we don't want to say, okay, you're using 2020 as a benchmark and do something permanent, because we just don't know. So we figure if we do this one more year on a temporary basis next year, which hopefully will be a fairly normal year, we can determine whether there's enough appetite for outdoor dining, so to speak, that would warrant us doing something more permanent. I mean, permanent could be anything from extending the curbs to putting in, where there's been talk about, having, instead of Jersey barriers, more ornate looking planter boxes. It's something we want to do, but we don't want to do it now when we still don't know where we're going to land on this when things get back to normal. So that's why we're doing one more temporary year.
Correct. And we may be using planter boxes next year just as a barrier instead of the Jersey barriers, because we've received that feedback that it's we could do something a little bit more attractive. But
right.
To your point, anything that we do, we'd like to be able to repurpose.
Right. And then we'll come back next year, see how it works, know what it's like if people still want to do it. Because when you go to cities in Europe, they have lots of outdoor dining, even in fairly cold climates. I mean, you got outdoor dining in Germany. Year round, yep. Yeah. So and it may be that people think this is great. I've had people say, I really like this, I want it forever. But I do think we need to see how it actually plays out in a more normal setting before we do spend real money on a permanent solution.
It also seems like we've been a real beneficiary of the parking garage, because
Yes.
I have not noticed a real impact to parking.
Right.
Other than obviously that the town has really filled up with people, and it's fantastic.
Yep.
The garage has been full.
The garage is filling up, so
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
something that will require some
Right.
resolution a little better.
Yeah, that's something we have to talk about too. But again, that's something I think the resolution will come when we get back to a more of a steady state.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is the idea that First Street will continue to be one-way?
Yes, we're going to keep First Street one way, especially when you have Nabucco and Fuller having these tents through December. And if we're going to have outdoor dining the next year, to move it back and forth would be confusing. So it just makes sense to leave it the way it is.
Okay. Any other staff reports? Any trustee comments on anything? No reason for a closed session. Could I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Roll call vote.
Trustee Postuma.
Aye.
Trustee Stifler.
Aye.
Trustee Fisher.
Aye.
Trustee Burns.
Aye.
Trustee
Aye.
Thank you.